important questions, relevant questions. But the kafir who is argumentative and is trying to argue with you, and he's trying to show you up in front of the other kafir brethren of his to say that he has knowledge of Islam, I know about Islamic history, and then he tries to use history to fight history, or he tries to use one ayah in the Quran to beat another ayah, and he's always arguing with you. This kafir you are not supposed to give da'wah to. His heart is sealed. And you cannot give da'wah to a da'i until he stops giving da'wah. So if a person is a Jehovah's Witness, a dedicated Jehovah's Witness, giving da'wah, knocking on the door of people, giving them da'wah, you cannot give da'wah to that Jehovah's Witness unless he stops giving da'wah. This is what the scholars of Islam say. You cannot give da'wah to a da'i, a caller to his kufr, unless he stops giving da'wah. Because his da'wah is his shield that is stopping him from embracing the truth, al-Islam. من اتبع الذكر وخشي الرحمن بالغيب فبشره بمغفرة وأجر كريم. Anyone who fears Allah, anyone who follows the dhikr, اتبع الذكر. The dhikr here is Quran and Sunnah. The Quran and the Sunnah, not just Quran, Quran as well as Sunnah. وخشي الرحمن بالغيب, and he fears Allah by himself. He fears Allah when he is locked up in seclusion. You know, you have some people when they are with you in the mosque, they pray. This same man, when he is alone in his house, the 5 prayers came and went, and he never prayed a single one because he was alone and nobody is watching him. He doesn't know that Allah is watching him. Now Allah is telling you who is the man who has taqwa, the real pious person. The real pious person is a person who fears Allah. Khashya ar-Rahman bil-Ghaib. He fears Allah when he was alone by himself. Why he fears Allah when he was alone by himself? Because he is not on deen. He is not practicing Islam to be seen by others. He is practicing Islam to gain the countenance of Allah Ta'ala. And the Prophet ﷺ said, on Judgment Day, the sun will be very close to you, about a mile. And you will be sweating in your sweat. Some of you, your sweat will be at your ankles. Some of you, your knees. Some of you, your waist. Some of you, your chest. Some of you will be drowning in your sweat. But 7 people will be underneath the shade of Allah. They won't be sweating. They will be underneath the shade of Allah on that day, in which there will be no shade except the shade of Allah. The first one, a just ruler, a ruler who was honest and just. Secondly, a youth who practiced Islam in his peak of youthfulness. You found Islam when you were a youth. You hang on to Islam even though when you are young it is easy for you to go astray because your hormones start playing games with you. You didn't smoke, you didn't drink alcohol, you didn't commit zina, you didn't bet on the national lottery. All these vices you give up. You hang on to Islam. You are living in an evil country, for example the UK, the USA, country where everything is available. Every haram is easy to commit. And you hang on to Islam in your peak of youthfulness. This is the second person that will be beneath the shade of Allah Ta'ala on Judgment Day, when there will be no shade except the shade of Allah. The third man, the man whose heart is connected to the masjid. Anywhere in the world he goes to, the first question he asks, where is the mosque? I want to go and pray 2 rak'ah to the mosque, for the mosque. I want to go and greet the mosque with my 2 rak'ah. I want to sit down in the mosque and read Quran, a place of tranquility. He loves the house of Allah. And if you build a mosque for Allah in the dunya, Allah will build for you a mansion in paradise. So the third man, the man whose heart is connected to the mosque, the house of Allah, not to the pub or the nightclub, to the mosque. Unfortunately, there are many Muslims whose hearts are connected to the nightclubs. Unfortunately. Or the betting shops. or the pub or the brothel. Your eyebrows may be raising. It's a reality. The fourth man, whenever he gives you something with his right hand, his left hand doesn't know anything about it. He doesn't give you and then use it to hurt you. He doesn't give you and then he tells every human being on the face of the earth he can find, I gave him a pair of shoes to wear to eat. He was so poor he didn't have anything to wear to eat. That business he has, I'm the one who started him off. I give him a loan of 2,000 pounds and start him off. Look, he's now a millionaire. I'm the one who start him off in life. If he gives you anything, he tells everyone. So this is the fourth man. If he gives you with his right hand, his left hand doesn't know anything about it. The fifth man, the man in which a woman calls him for zina and he says, no, I fear Allah. A beautiful woman from a noble family calls him to commit zina with her and he says to her, no, I fear Allah. The way Yusuf alayhi salam said to Zulaika, the queen of Egypt, no, I fear Allah. The sixth man, two men who exchange visits. They love each other in the dunya. They exchange visits a lot. Nothing brought them together. These two Muslims, nothing brought them together except that they love Islam. So because they love Islam, the both of them love each other. So you exchange visits a lot. You love each other a lot. Not because you speak the same language, Urdu or Bengali or Persian or Arabic. Not because you're from the same country. Not because you're from the same womb. These things didn't brought you together. You exchange visits a lot in the dunya. You love each other a lot. And the only reason why you love each other is because of the sake of Allah. And this is called what? Al-Wala wal-Bara. Loving and hating for Allah. And the Prophet said, these two men on Judgment Day, the prophets as well as the martyrs will envy them. Allah will honor them so much that even the prophets and the martyrs will wish they were in their shoes, will envy them. They practice what? Al-Wala wal-Bara. Love and hate for Allah's sake. How many did I make mention of? 6. The seventh and last, a man who locks himself up in a room and remembers Allah so much he shed tears. When you go to some mosque, you see people crying. But there's a trick to it. Some of them cry sincerely because they fear Allah, and some people cry in public because they want to win your confidence. So when you leave here with your British passport and you go to a poor country in the mosque and you go for 40 days or 4 months and you see a person crying in the daytime, when you sleep at night you search in your bag for your British passport. To tamper with it because he wants to come to Britain because Britain is paradise for him. This is a reality. So people cry sometimes because they sincerely fear Allah, while others cry because there's a catch to it. They want to win your confidence. Such a pious brother, so you trust him. Trust him only for him to stab you in the back. But the best tears is the tears that were shed behind closed doors. You by yourself. So Allah said, وَخَشِيَ الرَّحْمَنِ بِالْغَيْبِ in Surah Yasin. فَبَشِّرُوا بِمَغْفِرَةٍ وَأَجْرٍ كَرِيمٍ. Give glad tidings to this man. The one who fears Allah in secrecy, give him glad tidings of a forgiveness from his Lord and an ajr which is noble, a reward which is noble and dignified. Inna nahnu nuhyi al-mawta. Verily, it is we and we alone who is capable of bringing the dead back to life. Wa naktubu ma qaddamu, and we write down all the deeds which you have sent forward. Wa naktubu ma qaddamu. All the deeds which you have done, whether it is good or bad, we have written it down. So do not think that a deed, it's a sin, but it's trivial, so let me do it. Allah writes down every single thing that you do, whether it is good or bad. If it is good, you'll be rewarded, and if it's bad, you'll be punished. وَآثَارَهُ. So Allah said, your good deeds and your bad deeds, we write it down. Not just your deeds we write down, the